magician shows his hands entirely empty, and then a coin appears from nowhere, impossibly. Behind this seemingly simple act are literally thousands of years of history. In this video, I'm going to be unpacking and uncovering that history. Hello, my name is Josiah Gunther, and this is the entire history of Sleight of Hand in 10 minutes. The history of magic stretches back for literally thousands of years. We're talking like 4,000 years ago. In fact, they've found in ancient Egypt a tomb painting that appears to depict the classic magic trick, the cups and balls. And while scientists nowadays say that that was probably actually a depiction of the bread-making process, it's much cooler to imagine that it's actually the cups and balls. Even after all of these centuries, the cups and balls have stayed essentially the same, with 1, 2, 3 balls and 1, 2, and 3 cups. The trick as well is pretty similar. You take one ball with a wave through your wand, it vanishes, only to reappear underneath the cup. Again, you take a ball, you put it in your hand, with a wave of your wand, it vanishes, only to reappear underneath the cup. It even works with all 3 balls. See, that's 1, 2, and 3 balls into that hand. See, nothing in this cup, of course, nothing in this cup, of course, and nothing, of course, in this cup. And all you have to do is just wave your wand once over this hand, and all 3 balls vanish, only for 1 to reappear under this cup, 1 to reappear underneath this cup, and 1 to reappear underneath this cup. Also, after all of these years, the secret has remained essentially the same. You just always have an extra ball, or in this case, an extra tangerine, or 2, or 3, or 4. But back to our history of sleight of hand. Even back then, magicians knew how to misdirect, distract, and manipulate. In ancient Greece and Rome, similar sleight of hand was used in religious rituals to entertain and even con people. But now let's jump forward a couple thousand years to the Middle Ages, which weren't quite so welcoming to magic. Magic of any kind, whether it was based in sleight of hand or not, was denounced as witchcraft. He's a witch! Burn him at the stake! He made it reappear. Burn him at the stake! Street magicians had to perform under suspicion, and had to be careful to avoid being accused of witchcraft and burned at the stake. They began to call what they did legerdemain, French for light of hand, emphasizing skill rather than sorcery. This is also when magicians began to weave storytelling into their magic tricks, infusing them with religious meanings or themes, to avoid being killed. But even in this time of fear, people were still drawn to magic, because somehow, even under the worst of circumstances, seeing the impossible happen right before your eyes is just something humans love. By the time the Renaissance came, people were hungry for wonder. Science, art, and curiosity flourished, and magic flourished along with it. Magic started its transformation from being just a thing on the streets to a legitimate form of entertainment. Nobles and aristocrats all around the world were starting to be entertained by magicians doing all kinds of strange things with cups, cards, coins, and other mysterious objects. But no one changed the public's perception of magic quite like a man named Jean Eugene Robert Houdin, who has now become known as the father of modern magic. Robert Houdin's effects were polished and clean and mysterious. Simple, but elegant. Things like this trick, known as the Rising card, performed in many different forms throughout the centuries, but here's my take on it. We'll just use any card, this card. Look at it, remember it, don't forget it. Just goes somewhere into the middle of the deck. And now, just a snap of my fingers, it begins to take on a life of its own, rising slowly out of the center of the deck. Back back to the history lesson. Born in the 1800s, he was a clockworker by trade. But he was the man who brought sleight of hand from the streets to the stage. He wore a tuxedo instead of a pair of robes and set his illusions in drawing rooms, not Gothic castles. He even began to mix mechanical trickery in with sleight of hand, thus changing how we perform magic to this day. Supposedly, he even stopped a revolt using his illusions, using the famous magic tricks, the light and heavy chest and other things, to convince his enemies that he really did have magic powers. Yes, magic literally was used as a tool for diplomacy. Robert Houdin inspired generations of magicians to come, most notably a man named who would become known as Harry Houdini. Then came the golden age of magic, and with it someone who is arguably the greatest magician of all time, Harry Houdini, taking his name from the great Robert Houdin, and whose name inspired many other magicians' names, Cardini, Slidini, Josiah Dini. But in his time, he was known more as an escape artist than a magician, although he did practice magic. He even started his career under the stage name the King of Cards. He even went so far as to claim that no magic trick could fool him. And he was right. Until there was Divernon. The trick that fooled Houdini. Divernon had him select a card. Could have been any card, but in this case we'll just use this card, the 7 of spades. Now, he just stuck it somewhere into the middle of the deck. You can see that really is going as the middle of the deck. Yet, with just a snap of his fingers, Divernon made the card jump right back to the top of the deck. And that really is only one card. Houdini had him do it again. So again, he stuck the card cleanly somewhere into the center of the deck. And again, with merely a snap of his fingers, it jumped to the top of the deck. Again, just a single card. Houdini had him do it one more time. And again, he stuck it cleanly to the center of the deck. Again, he snapped his fingers, and again, it jumped to the top of the deck. A single card, no duplicates in the deck. Houdini was fooled. Harry Houdini and Divernon weren't the only great magicians of the era. Magic was exploding in popularity, and magic acts were becoming staples in all kinds of shows. Some relying on grand illusions, others pure sleight of hand. Other notable names of the era are Howard Thurston, one of the greatest magicians of all time, and Chung-Ling Soo, who pretended to be a Chinese magician who couldn't speak English despite being thoroughly American. Additionally, in this era, there were many magicians who, although far less famous, were equally influential, such as the author of the famous card book The Expert at the Card Table by S.W. Ernest. To this day, we still have no idea who he was. The 20th century brought with it a whole new stage to magic: the television. Magicians like Doug Henning reintroduced magic to a new generation with a fresh, colorful style. David Copperfield stunned audiences with massive illusions, but his sleight of hand, equally clean. Suddenly, tricks that once required distance could be filmed in close-up. And then came a shift. Close-up magic, once reserved for magicians performing inches away from spectators, became its own art form shared with the entire world. Magicians like Ricky Jay performed card magic so flawlessly that it became its own performance art. Juan Tamariz, with his wild hair and infectious energy, turned psychological card magic into something deeply human and impossible to forget. But not everyone used their sleight of hand for good. Many people used it to con people and steal their money. For instance, you may have bumped into this particular con game yourself. It's known as the 3-card Monty. The game is simple. You follow the red ace. Ignore the 2 jokers. If you find the red ace, then you win the money. If you don't, then you lose your money. Watch, the ace is in the center. The first time is easy, right? The ace goes into the center, they mix up the cards, and now where's the ace? Of course, you'll guess it's in the center, and of course, you'll be right. They'll make it easy for you the first time. So that way, you'll be confident that you'll get it right again, and bet even more money. However, the second time, they'll be a bit more tricky. See, it looks like they again just stick the red ace in the center, and again just mix up the cards. But if you guess that this card is the ace again, this is actually a joker. The ace is over here. Seeing that you actually failed, the conman will be sorry for you and will make things a little easier for you by putting a paperclip onto the ace. You can see that paperclip really is going onto the ace. He then puts the ace into the center and again mixes the cards. But this time it's impossible for you to get it wrong because there's a frickin' paperclip on the ace. But if you guess that this is the ace, that's actually a joker. The ace is here. The conman will again offer to do it one more time, making it as fair as possible. So he puts the paperclip onto the ace. You can see both front and back that paperclip is indeed on that ace. Puts the ace into the center, and then it proceeds to again mix the cards. And surely you can't get it wrong this time, right? But again, this is a joker, this is a joker, the ace is over here. And that's why you should never play the 3-card Monty. This era wasn't just about fooling people, it was about reimagining the relationship between performer and audience. And that brings us to the modern era. Modern magic is much more visual and flashy than it used to be, and it's also much more cool than ever before. Magicians are doing things like showing every single card in the deck blue. See, a totally blue deck, and of course it has normal faces, but not only, see, blue back, normal faces, but then just in a blink of an eye, the entire deck changes. Not only the deck box, but the entire deck, every single card is now red. Not only is every single card red, every single card is now blank. That's modern magic. Along with this new flashy style of magic has come another branch of sleight of hand, known as cardistry. It is the art of flourishing with cards. Essentially, magicians just got tired of hiding their sleight of hand and decided to just show it all off. But now, with the rise of the internet, magic has become more accessible than ever. Anyone can now go on YouTube and learn a magic trick in just a couple minutes, or just sit back, relax, and watch the show, whether it be Shin Lim on AGT, or Jack Rhodes, or even me. You see, we are participating in a living tradition, one that stretches back for thousands of years. And who knows where the future of magic will take us. It's up to you, and it's up to me. But I'm sure it's going to be magical. So next time you see a magician vanish a coin, remember, it's not just a trick. It's the accumulation of thousands of years of practice, performance, and wonder. That's the entire history of sleight of hand in 10 minutes. My name's Josiah Gunther. Thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed, please subscribe. And if you didn't enjoy, still subscribe. You don't have to watch the videos. And till next time.